we begin to see that this is such a predatory system to those that are poor and those that are looking to elevate themselves in this capitalistic structure that all too often is so much easier to fall than to rise above. Hello and welcome to Endemic Times. My name is Amira. So Robby on the Hill got big mad yesterday when talking with Brianna Joy Gray following her radar discussing student loan forgiveness and especially Navient, one of the more predatory loan companies that is part of the big issue when it comes to student loan debt forgiveness and the multitude of issues we're seeing just overall with the predatory loan practices coming from companies like Navient. So let's look at this exchange and talk about it on the other side.
She took out student loan debt at a time when it was much cheaper, and she still had student loan debt and has student loan debt into adulthood, a very small amount remaining. But it was much cheaper, and you literally could work your way through some college, doing summer jobs, working for a year and saving up. We don't live in that world for reasons that you and I agree are predatory and wrong and should be overhauled from the beginning. But don't sit and tell a group of students who were lectured for the last 20 years that the only thing that you could do to be successful in life and avoid being poor is to go to college and then do a bait and switch and say that we're not going to be as mad at these predatory organizations, which Ted Cruz now wants to ally with, to block reform.
Washington, D.C. requires you, has tried to require, it's been blocked in court, but has tried to require people who want to be daycare, childcare professionals, require them to get require them to get education degrees. They're forcing them to go to college. You don't need an education degree to watch children.
Do people have to go to college to be a doctor?
Oh my, that's so ridiculous. That's absurd. Yeah, to be a doctor, yes, not to watch people's kids. That's dumb.
Okay, so we shouldn't have to go to college to watch people's kids. Should poor people be allowed to be doctors? Should poor people have an opportunity to be doctors, Robby?
Yes, they can. College should be affordable, and I support lowering tuition rates.
Okay, so if you want doctors to have,
there's a credentialing system that has forced everyone to buy into this entire scam that needs to be dismantled, and that is the problem. The problem is not people need to pay back the things they agreed to pay.
I agree that exists, but taking marginal cases on the borders that have nothing to do with the overwhelming crisis where poor people, most jobs that require credentialing do need credentialing.
Probably there's too much credentialing in the medical field.
I think that's true too. It could be shorter and cheaper for sure. But sitting here and pretending like it's these marginal cases that are the cause of the structural issue does nothing but give people an excuse to do nothing to actually change the system. It blames individuals instead of blaming systems and the people who are exploiting folks. So I would like to see a lot of anger directed at Navient and predatory lenders and the people who set up this cockamamie system, and not at individuals who sometimes make bad decisions, but shouldn't be abandoned by their government as a consequence.
Okay,
So Brianna did a really great thing here. I mean, not only was she able to handle Robby's very obvious rage at her, somewhat bit of a quip of like, should doctors go to college, which it does kind of explain why he's getting so frustrated. This is obviously a conversation that Robby does not like to have. It's by far one of the most contentious conversations and topics that they almost every day have on the Hill when Brianna is there. But Brianna did really bring a really good part of the conversation when it comes to student loan debt and forgiveness and just the bulk of the cost when it comes to going to school in trying to elevate yourself in our society and in this system. So her bringing up the fact that doctors, if you are an individual that is interested in becoming a doctor, you are going to have to commit yourself to more than just a 4-year degree. You are entering into a field that has very rigorous standards, as they should. It's the medical profession. You are treating people. And there's a lot of judgments and critiques that we could have of just the medical system in our country as a whole. But in this particular part of the conversation, she's making an excellent point. If you do not come from an affluent background, you may be a good student, but you might not be eligible for scholarships, or you might get a scholarship, but the likelihood that a scholarship is going to cover every cost of going to college, that is just completely unrealistic. So she brings a fantastic point here of saying that if you are in a poorer economic class than upper middle class and higher affluent classes, you are going to have to take out large loans. And yes, many of those loans are predatory. And yes, a lot of people go into knowing that those loans are going to be very high because they have the belief and understanding that they are going to be entering into a field that is going to provide them with more monetary stability and also ability to move up, that they believed that they could pay off these loans. But life happens. Like she said, people make bad decisions, but sometimes decisions are completely taken out of our control. We have seen very many stories on social media of people that are of very poor financial backgrounds that are going into four-year colleges and above, taking out astronomical loans because they are trying to elevate both themselves and their families. But life happens. There can be sicknesses and illnesses that someone needs to leave school in order to go and help that family, maybe to take over the family business because it's a crucial part of the financial stability for the family. Or maybe a parent or a sibling has passed. We don't have any type of equivalent for family medical leave when it comes to schools. Yes, you can defer, and yes, you can maybe come back, but you can lose out on scholarships, and you can definitely have your debt of loans that you have decided to sign off on increase as you continue to not meet that income that you thought you were going to be at, which was why you took out these loans in the first place. So while this is a very contentious subject, it makes a lot of sense why people are on the side of let's completely forgive all of these loans, and others are you took out these loans with the understanding that this was a loan and you needed to pay it back. It does harken back though to an earlier thing that she says in this segment, that so many people were fed the lines of if you want to have more upward mobility financially for you and for your family, it would behoove you to go to college. At least a 2-year, if not a 4-year. And if you're someone that has the dream of being a doctor, but you're poor, what else are you supposed to do? A poor person has every right to dream and aspire to want to become a medical professional, just like people that want to go into the legal profession. Both medicine and law require both time and money in both of those fields. And unfortunately, it is those two dynamics in both of those fields that results in so many people having to quit because either the studies are too much and they still have loans that they're going to have to pay off, or external circumstances have occurred to where they can't finish their studies because taking care of their family is more important. It should be more important. This is such a great thing that she said that is all too often not discussed in the student loan, debt forgiveness, and predatory systems that we have when it comes to college. So many of us millennials were fed the line of you need to go to college. You need to get that piece of paper. That's what's going to make you successful. That's what's going to give you that middle class life that we were shown in movies and TV shows, all the propaganda. And so many of us believed that and were willing to put in the hard work and were willing to have the knowledge and forethought to say, I know I am signing up for this loan, but I am going into this loan with the understanding and belief that the economy and my income is going to improve as I continue to improve my ability, my knowledge. And that is something that we have just continued to see not be happening. It takes us to an uncomfortable place when we have to talk about class dynamics in an atmosphere and in an environment that is both propagandized and completely corrupt. Because let's face it, when you take out a student loan, you're not just taking out a student loan for the tuition of that college. You're likely also having to take out more money so that you can have a place to live, so that you can afford your books and supplies and possibly a computer. And we all know that computers and supplies can run out and you have to replenish those things. There are so many other intricate details that go into the cost of college that have nothing to do with the actual tuition and cost of that education. This is a system that needs a complete overhaul. And yes, we should make education free. Public colleges should be free. And when we see Ivy League schools that are starting to lose their standing within the system, we begin to see that this is such a predatory system to those that are poor and those that are looking to elevate themselves in this capitalistic structure that all too often is so much easier to fall than to rise above. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of Robby's response and the throwing of the pen. He was definitely very heated. It'll be interesting to see how this conversation moves along going forward. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell. Remember to stay safe, take care, and be kind to each other.